Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us to our press conference today of the Rule of Law Task Force of Renew Europe, led by our President of Renew Europe of the Parliamentary Group in the European Parliament in Brussels, Valérie, joined by our distinguished Renew Europe members, Irina Joveva, Chair of the Working Group on Civil Rights in Brussels, and joined by Veronika Civrova, member of the Rule of Law Monitoring Group of the European Parliament. All speakers represent and speak in their capacity as members of the Rule of Law Task Force in Bulgaria. This meeting is obviously on the record. After the opening remarks, we will have some time for questions, and then we take it from there. President, you have the floor.
Thank you, Catherine. Hello, everybody again. Dear media representatives, thank you for your interest. Thank you for being with us today. Our latest exchanges today in Sofia showed it even more, your independence voice matter. Today we heard powerful testimonies from civil society, from NGOs, journalists, judges, and what they describe, it is deeply alarming. They witness a system which is systematically undermined. Key positions in the justice system are compromised. Accountability is absent. Votes are votes. Access to information is barely possible. Power is concentrated outside fair and transparent procedures. Some voices today called it even state capture, with institutions hollowed out from inside, stripped of their independence and deprived of their legitimacy. This is the harsh reality described to us. Indeed, the rule of law in Bulgaria is under attack. We don't shy away, but shed light on it. We see a lack of justice independence, excessive concentration and abuse of prosecution power, pressure on media freedom, unresolved corruption cases at the highest level. These are not incidents. They go to the heart of democracy, and what we see is democratic erosion. Accordingly, Renew Europe is present in Bulgaria with our Rule of Law Task Force, because we take seriously our responsibility to see, to listen, and to speak out when democratic standards are under pressure. And here it is clearly the case. We are here not to lecture, but to stand alongside Bulgarian citizens, journalists, judges, mayors, and civil society actors who are demanding something profoundly simple: fairness, accountability, and equal application of the law. And that's why Renew Europe is here on the ground, to document, to engage, and when necessary, to denounce. We believe firmly that Bulgarian citizens deserve better. They deserve institutions that serve the public interests, not political networks. They deserve an independent justice system that protects rights, not power. And they deserve an anti-corruption system that investigates wrongdoing wherever it exists without fear or favor. Let me be clear. Defending the rule of law is not anti-Bulgarian. It is the opposite. We believe it is an act of solidarity with the Bulgarian people and with all those who refuse to accept that corruption and impunity are reality. European integration cannot be built on unresolved rule of law deficits. Progress must be real, accountable, and going forward, not sliding back. Renew Europe will not remain silent, because silence is complicity. That's why we conduct this fact-finding mission with our Renew Europe Task Force. The findings will feed directly into our ongoing work within the European Parliament, including in the Democracy, Rule of Law, and Fundamental Rights Monitoring Group of the LIBE Committee, and Veronika is a member of this group. This is part of our unwavering commitment to defend democracy in every EU member state, without double standards and without political convenience. We are observing the processes closely, and we will use every tool we have to defend the protesting Bulgarian citizens and their call for justice, rule of law, and their pro-European way. Our Rule of Law Task Force is about accountability, justice, and next steps. Renew Europe will continue to raise these issues in the European Parliament, with the Commission, and with member states. We insist that the rule of law is not a convenience, it is the foundation of our union. To the citizens of Bulgaria, let me say this clearly. Their call for justice is justified and right. and we joined and fight for this voice of democracy. Thank you.
Thank you very much to the President of Renew Europe, and the floor is to our Renew Europe member, Irena Joveva. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dobar den. Hi, everyone. My name is Irena Joveva. I come from Slovenia. I'm a member of the Civil Liberty Committee and also a chair of the Renew working group regarding the civil liberties issues that we have in the European Parliament or the European Union as such. So during the whole day of the meetings that we had today and also the ones we will have tomorrow, we are not finished yet, but I have to emphasize already now that we weren't listening to rumors or to some allegations without proofs. We have listened to journalists, to lawyers, judges, anti-corruption investigators, civil movements, and they all, independently of each other, describe actually the same picture. So a system in which the law does not apply equally to everyone or does not even apply at all. It depends on the situation. So, when the highest court in the country decides that the mandate of the acting prosecutor general has expired and other institutions simply ignore this decision, this is no longer a legal dilemma. And when the body that governs the judiciary rejects the rulings of its own Supreme Court, that's not independence of institutions, it's an institutional clash, and in such clash, citizens always lose, and that's the biggest problem here. And when major corruption cases remain unresolved, it's not a question of capacity, it's a question of political will. And when civil society reports pressures, discreditations, and attempts to silence them, that's not a democracy, at least not a healthy one. It's a warning light. And therefore, I must say clearly that I believe that the biggest problem in Bulgaria today is the absence of accountability. And the European Union cannot accept a situation in which court decisions are expected only when they are politically convenient, because the rule of law is not a la carte menu. At least that goes to our political group, Renew Europe. And we are not just observers. Europe should not be an observer. And we have a European Media Freedom Act, which is now law. It's a concrete shield for journalists, for editorial offices, and citizens who have the right to independent information. And I was directly involved in this creation as one of the negotiators in the name of a Renew Europe group, and I know very well why we wrote into it the transparency of media ownership, protection from political pressure, and restrictions on the abuse of state advertising as a tool of control. I'm the one who insisted on this to be in this law, because I have seen what happens when these safeguards are not in place. So now these rules apply, and the question is no longer whether we have them, the question is whether we will enforce them. We, you, us, and we simply have to. Even when or if the interests of some individuals are strong, or especially when they are. Free media are not decoration of democracy, they are its security system, its cornerstone. So now the system no longer depends or should not depend on the goodwill of the authorities, but on the European law. And our report from this mission will be precise and direct and, without embellishment. And when it's finished, political steps will also follow if needed. Not to punish Bulgaria, but to protect the citizens. And it shouldn't be political. It's not political. It's pure basic facts. And it's actually a question of the dignity of the people who live here beyond or before their own state. Thank you.
Thank you very much to our Renew member. And now Veronika Sifrova, Renew member and also member of the Rule of Law Monitoring Group in the European Parliament. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, and thank you for being here, ladies and gentlemen. I will try not to repeat what already was very well said by my colleagues, but it was a very full day, full of findings, and as Irena said, it was based on facts, not on assumptions or allegations, we've heard facts. And that is something that I value because I'm not here only as an MEP, as a member of the European Parliament from Renew Europe, but also as a former journalist. So this topic is very close to my heart. I have felt the pressure, I have witnessed the pressure, and I have seen that a pressure on journalism and the attempt to suppress media freedom can actually cost lives. And I know that when space for free and critical journalism, and I'm sure you members of the media can agree, starts shrinking, we know that democracy is already in trouble. Today we heard how journalists, especially in smaller cities and regions, work under fear or intimidation or financial pressures, how loyalty tends to be rewarded with money and independence is being punished, how lawsuits are used to exhaust and to silence reporters, how public media, how regulators remain politically captured while the reforms necessary are delayed. And why does all of this matter? Well, this all together creates a culture of impunity. And my dear ladies and gentlemen, dear Bulgarians, we really do not need any new warnings. We have Malta, we have Slovakia, Daphne Caruana Galizia, Jan Kuciak. We know enough and we have seen enough not to repeat these mistakes. And it might start innocently with a few threats or some financial pressure on a journalist, but it can actually end in death. So let's not please take this lightly. And that's why we're very vocal about these findings, and we will be very vocal in the report that we publish on behalf of the Renew Europe Task Force on Bulgaria. And we know that strong independent media are not a threat to the state. They are a condition, a precondition for a strong state, because available independent information is actually beneficial to the citizens, just like they need good economy, just like they need functioning justice. So let's keep in mind that rule of law isn't rule of law without a functioning media. And I really believe that Bulgarians deserve better than fear, than silence, and then weak media that are a disservice to the Bulgarian citizens. And I very much echo with what Valérie said, that we are not here to judge or to pronounce any judgments. We are here to stand with you, with Bulgarian people, because you are European citizens. We are the EU 27, and we really believe that the rule of law should apply no matter what country you live in, because those are the treaties that we signed as the countries when we were entering the European Union. And I firmly believe, as a politician, as a member of the European Parliament, as a Slovak citizen, as a European, that real patriotism today means standing up for democracy, for standing for rule of law, and also for free journalism. So that's why we are here. That's why we will continue to use all the tools in our belts to put pressure on this, because we are doing this for the Bulgarian people, for the Bulgarian citizens. It's not politics. It's just a functioning state that we all wish to live in. Thank you.
Thank you very much to all our speakers. We are ready to take your questions, and please be so kind and identify yourself and the media you work for. If questions are in the room, that's now. And we go ahead. Thank you.
Nikolai Trifonov, Bulgarian News Agency. Do you think that we will have free elections after today's meeting and conversations?
You addressed the question to whom, please?
Valérie.
Thank you. Indeed, as my colleague said, first, the discussion we had today were very interesting and very useful for us to better understand the situation and the pressure on the rule of law, on the journalist, on the political opponent today in Bulgaria. We had the information that maybe the way of the election will be led, especially with the fact that maybe the machine system will not be used anymore. This is a critical point, of course. And this is also our task as member of the European Parliament to make sure that elections are fair everywhere in Europe. And this will be absolutely key. This is key for all the elections, but this will be absolutely key for especially these elections. We saw from Brussels from our country, the demonstrations of Bulgarian people in the streets. That's new. Not absolutely new in the country, but that's rare. And Bulgarian citizens just want to live in a democratic state with fair election, with fair representative, and we are on their side to make sure that rule of law is implemented everywhere in Europe, especially in Bulgaria, to make sure that the justice is independent, that arbitrary decisions are not taken, and to make sure that the electoral process is respected.
Maybe I will just add that we hope that the elections will be free and fair, and if they aren't, which is in the hands of the government or the caretaker government, it is not just the failure of Bulgaria, it is a failure of the European Union, because free and fair elections is its foundations. So it should be in all of our interest for the elections to be free and for them not to have the possibility of rigging it or buying votes. We've heard about that, of possible corruption. I think this is a European issue. It's not only a Bulgarian issue.
Do we have some more questions? I just have here one, and all the media is over there. If there is no question anymore, we thank you a lot for your attention here in the room, and thank you very much from the side Renew Europe.